Welcome to Negotiating Happiness, the show that helps you find happiness, success, and balance in your work and life. I'm Adriana Fiestro, your host for this journey into entrepreneurship and personal growth. We're broadcasting live on 107.7 and 105.3 FM in New Orleans as part of the United Public Radio Network. We explore the latest strategies, insights, and stories from successful entrepreneurs and experts. From managing stress to building a thriving business, we've got you covered. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It is Monday, June 19th. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And if you have Roku TV, please check us out. A bunch of our shows are already on there, and there's just so much more to come. Today it is somewhat beautiful outside here in Ontario. And this is your usual spiel. Grab your coffee, grab your lunch, and come listen in on Negotiating Happiness. Today I have the lovely Natalie here with me. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
No, not a problem. I can't wait to tell everybody all the wonderful things about you. And I can't wait to dig into today to talk all about balance, digital marketing, breathwork, health, everything. I'm super excited. So Natalie is an accomplished founder and CEO of S&S Creative, a multiple six-figure digital marketing agency. With her Bachelor of Commerce honors degree in marketing and international business, Natalie has built a solid reputation in the industry. She brings over 15 years of experience, having worked with multi-million-dollar organizations, to her own company. She's also a certified breathwork facilitator, which I can't wait to learn more about. Natalie's authentic approach to showcasing the behind the scenes of her personal and professional life has helped her attract over 30,000 loyal followers. Her work ethic and ability to deliver results have earned her a name as a trusted expert in the field. Now, Natalie is dedicated to sharing her expertise to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses through effective digital marketing strategies that actually convert into dollars. Her boutique agency has already helped numerous clients achieve measurable success online. And overall, Natalie is a true trailblazer in the digital marketing world, and her passion for helping others has made a positive impact on countless entrepreneurs looking to achieve their own success. And not only that, Natalie is also a parent, which is, we end up talking a lot about parenting and like having your own business and like how to balance everything. So take it away, Natalie.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so funny hearing it read back to you because we all have our bios, right? But you hear it, you're like, dang, that is me.
It's like, wow, it's like that exactly,
Right? Yeah, I did do those things.
Yeah. It's amazing what actually putting yourself out there, what that does for your confidence. Although it's really scary at the beginning, it's amazing. I love it. I hate being on video, and obviously this is for everybody listening on the radio. I don't know if you know, but you can interact with us by leaving us comments or questions in the chats of any of the platforms that we're streaming online. And it's plugged in right now, live into about 8 different places. However, it will get replays on basically all of the popular platforms you can think of that Google has access to. So please leave us comments or suggestions, and please constructive criticism only, right?
I've been on video since I think I first started posting on social media in 2011. My fitness journey, I started my own Instagram page, and like with nobody that I knew, so that I could be less intimidated about, the Aunt Sally's comments. But it's over time. I think I even started my own YouTube channel, which if you tried hard enough, you could probably find in like 2017-ish, maybe. So it's been many, many years of creating video, and it gets easier.
Of course. Yeah. But I mean, as you know, digital marketing is unfortunately it's embedded in this whole thing, right? So it's kind of inevitable, right?
Yeah, Unfortunately or fortunately for some of us, I guess. But
Yes.
when I was
Sorry,
in
that's what I
university,
meant.
no, it's cool. When I was in university for marketing, like we didn't even talk about digital marketing. It was that long ago. And it's like it's come up so quick and you have to, and it's ever changing. Like it changes every single day. So you have to be on top of it to own a
Right.
business. Like just being completely honest, you can't, no, you can't ignore it 100% if you're a
Oh
business
yeah.
owner.
Oh yeah. And not only that, I just feel that if you're not in touch with your customer base, then what are you doing, right?
Yeah,
You have to have some sort of connection to the people that you're trying to sell to. And I always say this, people don't buy from your store, they buy from you as a person. That's why digital marketing goes hand in hand with like personal brands, and they work so well for everybody. Why do you think being an influencer is now an actual job, right? Because of
exactly.
personal branding,
Yep.
right? um
The number
yeah.
one job of Gen whatever it is that's in school right now. Why? I don't know. Their number one like surveyed is YouTubers. Like that's what they want to be. They want to be YouTubers. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't a thing 15
No,
years ago,
not when
10
I went
years
to
ago.
school either.
Right?
Not at all.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. I know people were doing videos on YouTube just for fun. I think this was before YouTube monetized anything, or very shortly before that, I guess. Yeah, it's crazy. I just opened up my YouTube account only to repost the replay.
Yes. That's
uh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So what's
I've had
one
so many
thing?
rounds.
Sorry.
I've had so many rounds of different YouTube channels and trying different things. It's crazy how fast it changes.
It just changes. Yeah. What's one of the things that you can think of that is like a misconception of using social media for a business? What can you? I'm sure you have a ton of
Mm.
experience with all kinds of new entrepreneurs or seasoned entrepreneurs, or
I think there's so many, but I think it's just that like if you start posting, you're going to get haters and negative feedback and people caring about you right away. And I
yeah,
think it stops so many business owners from putting themselves out there and like getting their business out. And they're like, it's oversaturated. Nobody wants to hear from me. I'm going to get haters. I can't handle it.
right,
But
right,
honestly, like we're the stars of our own show. Nobody cares about us really as much as we care about our
right,
image, and nobody's thinking about us as much as we do.
right,
So by
right,
putting yourself out there, you're attracting your ideal target audience, and you might get hate and you might get whatever, but like you have a lot more to gain by posting and by putting your brand out there than you do to lose. Yeah.
right, right. Because if you're not going to try, you're never going to even reap any benefit out of it.
Yeah.
You're never gonna know if you don't try, right?
Yeah.
So
Like the new
100%.
hype thing I've been hearing is social media optional or something like that for businesses. And I hear like, oh, I'm social media optional, but I'm six figures, or you can't get any clients off of Instagram, or there's just so many things because I guess, as entrepreneurs, we're getting burnt out of social media for sure. And it can be, and I mean, that's why agencies like mine exist, because business owners are good at what they do and not social
Yeah,
media. And that's why we're
yeah,
good at what we do. But like, I went from 0 to 10K in month one through Instagram. I built this business through Instagram. Like, it's not dead, it's just ever evolving. And where it's a social platform, you can't just post, pretty pictures and hope that businesses are going to get attracted to it, or random things that when you click on a profile it looks like literal spam, or like what's it called, like uh not spam, but what's the, like a scam.
oh
Like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
I've seen so many businesses that just like post random things that are out of, like, not on brand, not on color,
yeah.
it's like out of, it doesn't make any sense, and then they're like, I don't know why Instagram's not working. Well, okay.
Because there's zero strategy, 100%.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
what's funny? Like, I am very candid about this with everybody that I talk to. Like, I have 500 followers. Like, do not think that, like, I'm not, haven't even hit 1K, and that's okay for me.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't post. It's because I never made it a priority. So once I started
Exactly.
making a priority, I did see an increase, but I kind of missed the boat at the beginning because I wasn't beginning consistent from the beginning, right? So even if I was going to post like every so often, I should have been consistent, and I recognize that, and I say that to everybody. You don't have to post 10 times a day, every day. You just have to be consistent. The algorithm
Consistent.
has to learn your patterns, and and I'm okay with that because I kind of started my business on my website. My website had inquiries very consistently, so it kept me comfortable. So I
Yeah,
never had to rely on that. What I did rely on is having a presence. So once
exactly.
people found me on my website, you better believe it that they went on Instagram to find me
And
as
they can see
well.
that you're a professional and they can see who
Yes.
you are and that you and
Yeah.
I would have to beg to differ that you missed the boat because I think there's so many boats going out every single day. But that doesn't mean you want to be on one, right? Your business is successful and you don't need to be.
Right.
That's not like your
Right.
main focus. But as yeah, small businesses are trying to grow and they're like, where are my audience? Well, they're somewhere online. You just got to figure
You
out
just
where
gotta
you're going to be
find them.
consistent. Exactly.
Yeah, you have to find them, and not only find them, but you have to grab their attention. They want to have
Yeah.
to come back, right? Like if they're not hitting that follow button, it means it was a post just like any other post. And again, I'm not speaking from a place of thousands of followers. I'm speaking from somebody who tries to be very realistic about it. Am I
Totally.
trying more now on Instagram? I am. I do get some help with my social media. Do I do it for followers? No. I do it
Exactly.
because I'm looking to see what the reach of my engagement is at every milestone that I'm the person that posts randomly while, Taylor's the person that posts consistently, right? So
Yep.
at least I was like, I've covered my bases. So you don't need to necessarily, you know, put in all of your effort into it, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy some of the posting. I don't enjoy most of the like, oh my gosh, go appearing on stories. I have to take a story, like do retakes like 5 times. I'm like, why
Oh
is this so
no.
hard? Because I just get into my own head, right? If
Yeah,
I were to talk to a client that was saying that to me, I'd have the perfect answer for them. But because it's me, I'm
exactly.
just like, okay, whatever. But
And I think
no,
that like where a lot of business owners, I mean, this was the thing back in the day, even when I was in university, and to now they struggle investing in marketing. But like nowadays, marketing is a proper social media agency. And like if you're
oh yeah,
wanting to scale six to seven figures, you have to think about that at least and have an expert because the algorithm changes every week. Like
hmm
it's
hmm
we as a company who has, 30, 40 one-on-one clients at a time, we
yeah,
know what's changing because we can see it happening. But as an entrepreneur, like even myself, I don't run my own company's social media page because like we don't have time. We're good at what we do.
yeah,
And who's gonna like as a CEO, I'm not gonna sit on my Instagram and engage with my ideal target audience every single day, but I did when I started my business because it our clients are on there, right? So it's
that's right.
having a team you trust when you're ready for that and when you want to expand quickly,
Yeah,
that can help you get your vision out there and do it in a way that's like a
yeah,
extension of you, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. That's 100% kind of on the same page as what I think. And this is what I tell the clients that come to me that want to open up their own business. And I say, you don't have to have a lot of resources at the beginning if you're smart. And there are just so many opportunities out there with free platforms. Social media can be, free advertising, but you have to know where to actually invest the rest of your resources.
Yeah.
So I always say, like, if you're not good with math and if you're not organized, hire a bookkeeper. It's going to be worth the money.
Hey
If
man, I wish
you're
someone
not,
told me that.
I always say that. I was like, it's the first thing. Or
Yeah.
if you're not good with putting together the image that you want to portray, hire somebody for socials, hire
Yeah.
somebody for branding, because it's not just about a logo. It's not just about
It's not.
colors. It's not just about pretty pictures. It's about having a message. It's about staying
Yeah.
consistent with the message. It's about
Adding
how do you
value.
come, adding value, and how do you come across to the people that you actually want your ideal client, because you can't talk to everybody the same
No.
way, right? If we could, that means that everybody would be on TikTok dancing and
That's
everybody
actually a good
would be on
misconception.
point,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's a good misconception. Like that first question you asked me is all the time. I have clients saying like, well, this is my target audience and this is my target audience and this is and this is and this is. I'm like, you need to narrow it down. Like
Yeah.
pick one and focus in on it as much as it hurts because we're CEOs who are like, but I can help everybody. But you're not going to attract them. They're not going to hear you if you're trying to help everybody. So that's a good misconception, actually.
Right, right. Here we got a comment from Alexi. She's saying she's loving this. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Alexi is our senior content specialist, and
Oh,
she's been here with us
amazing.
since day one. So she's phenomenal.
Amazing. Thank you for the support. It's much appreciated. Another thing that I usually tell business owners is that, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
You know what just
um,
happened prior to us recording is I was getting ready and I knocked a bottle of perfume on the ground in my office and I have really bad allergies. So I got
oh
my husband and I was like,
no.
"Can you please clean up all the glass and the perfume because I have an interview right away." So I have the window open if you hear birds chirping, but I might be sneezing a bit more.
Oh no. Oh, that's how it always happens, right?
It
When we
always
rush. Yeah, it's a good reminder to kind of like slow down. Things will figure themselves out, you know?
so true. So
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So we know that you're a successful entrepreneur, and you're a mom, and we love seeing that. And even, I mean, even dads for sure. It's just I find that there's such a like camaraderie between like the
Totally.
women, and I love it. And I try to only bring it on the show people that I know or people that I think align with positive values. They don't necessarily have to align with all of my values, but they
Yeah.
have to be supportive of other people. And I really can appreciate that. And I know that you have, so let me just back it up. So anybody that's listening, um, I met Natalie through her networking event, and she has a networking event that happens monthly, and it is on a global scale. It's not just North America. And oh, Natalie, tell everybody where you're
Yeah.
from, actually.
I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Okay, and we are airing live in New Orleans, but we obviously stream across all platforms. We have really good numbers. People seem to love us across the ocean in Europe and
Amazing.
in in Asia, and which is amazing. We love a global audience,
Absolutely.
and uh, so with your networking event, I got to meet a lot of wonderful people. I'm just really terrible at getting back to them within that 1 week that you make the contacts available. So I'm like, oh my God, I hope we followed each other on Instagram because I'm just so busy, right? But
I totally get it.
I'm going to actually drop it in the comments. Um,
Yeah, so
this
it's
year.
gonna be here next or this week on Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's
Yeah,
every second last Wednesday of the month, except we're pausing for July and August because we're finding it's just summer and people are busy and running their businesses. But it is for entrepreneurs, business owners. It's an MLM free zone, just this one space, because it really is. The reason I created it is I have a hard time finding 6 to 7 figure business owners. Like there are a lot of communities for those entrepreneurs that are trying to get started and are looking for support and help, but it's
yeah,
hard to find ones that are established. And so that's why I created it. And it's 8-minute intervals where you meet one on one with someone and then you meet with someone else and someone else. And it's a free event. So, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so I've posted it in the comments if you guys are watching the replays or if you're online now. And I'm also just featuring it here on our screen. So if you do go to eventbrite.ca, you'll be able to look for Natalie and S&S Creative. And their events are going to pop up. You just have to make sure you have an account and you can register through there. It is free. You just have to RSVP as if you were paying for an event
Yeah.
there, and you'll receive all of your information. And don't be like me, check your spam, because I was
Shoot.
getting emails to my spam and I was like, how did I miss this? Oh, it was embarrassing, but it happens, guys. It
It
happens.
does happen.
We're all human. So that's a really good. So if you are looking to meet with like-minded people, if you have businesses that are that could serve globally, I think it's a wonderful event. It does put you in one-on-one chat rooms and video rooms with certain people. You don't get to talk to everybody, but it kind of just brings, I've seen some of the same people come back because they want to get to know everybody. So it kind of creates this like sense of community that it's going to happen next month. So we'll see you next month, or maybe we get the opportunity to do it next month. So
Absolutely.
also
And
I've
you
got,
get the whole list of the entrepreneurs too, like you mentioned, for a week. So you can take them and message whoever you met or someone you think that
yeah,
might be a good fit and book a call with
yes.
them.
And their titles are in with their contacts. So if you think that a certain industry might benefit you, you'll definitely be able to gauge that once you get the list. I'm just terrible at
I'm
prioritizing.
actually terrible as well.
So yeah, and also consider it like I got a recent piece of advice was to just trust in the universe. So if you are in the same boat, just show up and see where the universe takes you, basically.
It's so true. It's so true. And it's also a great way to practice. Like if you're nervous about speaking or practicing your pitch or just like getting, because you have 8 minutes. And if you never want to see the person again, you don't have to, right? So it's
Right.
like 8 minutes to really dial in on your networking, especially if like you're going to more in-person stuff. It can be really intimidating. So it's a good way to practice before getting back into
That's
the
right.
world.
That's right. That's right. It's definitely. I'm gonna try and make it. I have a bunch of stuff happening on Wednesday, but I'm gonna try and make it.
Please do. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
You also last time that I was on your event, you also talked about your ebook that you make available on your website. Um, I think it's super super helpful, especially for people that have never thought about where their strategy might take them with social media. Um, and I was going to here. Let's see if we can do it now. I wanted to share with you guys. Um, Give me 1 second here. This will be a first time in my episodes where we get to share here.
So this, while you're pulling up, I can kind of
Yeah.
explain it a little bit. So this is a 40-page ebook that I created really to show the behind the scenes of social media management. So like I mentioned before, it isn't just pretty pictures, but really going into like we have a hashtag framework and it takes us half a day to create that strategy for our clients and it goes through how to do it. And I think there's even a link to a Loom video on me doing it for one of our clients, goes through what platforms you should be on with a little checklist and your target audience questionnaires to figure that out really in depth. Like there's a lot that goes into creating content, how to create proper graphics, how to engage, how to create proper captions that are optimized, your profile, all of those things that people forget about when they just like, oh, I'm going to create a business profile and like post once a month when there's something that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Here. So let's add it here. There we
Awesome.
go. There we go. So this is the ebook that Natalie is telling us about. Oh my gosh.
So I haven't
If
gone
I
through it
could
completely
only
recently, but
operate this.
love it.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not letting me.
Go through
Oh,
the pages.
it's a, oh, it's in
Is it just
PNG.
the
Maybe
cover?
that's why
I might have just
it
sent
won't
you
let
the
me go
cover. I'm
scroll
sorry.
through. Interesting.
But it's
Oh, that's
they can
okay.
click and
No, that's
download
okay.
it.
So yeah, so this is it. So yeah, no, that's okay. So you can get this on the website, right?
Uh,
Is that right?
you know what? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
if the
think
link is
so. Hold on, let
available
me
on the
see.
website. I know for sure it's the link in my bio on Instagram, but typically it's a value of 200 and we put it in different packages or we give it as freebies or we do things like that. It may be on the website, but I know it's for sure in my link in
Yeah.
bio.
It won't matter because I'm going to post the link in the comments again, but I am flashing here on the screen Natalie's Instagram, which is For the Success. And you can follow her there as well. I think you just have so much valuable information that you're providing to people. And I know you have another Instagram page, which is the S&S Creative.
Yeah, so the S&S Creative is
And
definitely more digital marketing, Instagram, business tips. Before the Success is more
yeah,
so kind of my personal speaker, breathwork, mom, parent type of family page.
Yeah, yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, Laura Lee. So awesome. Can't wait to read the amazing book. Thank you for this. Thank you so much, Laura Lee.
Oh,
Laura Lee is also a producer here and she has two shows that she handles. So if you guys are
amazing.
interested, yeah, it's The Angel Rock and The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. They talk about the most interesting things ever, especially if you have a paranormal interest. Oh, highly recommend. And
That's
Angel
so
Rock
cool.
is on tonight. Yeah, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you tune in.
That's
um,
amazing.
yeah, it's she's also a wonderful, wonderful support. So thank you, Laura Lee.
Thank you, Laurie.
um, tell us a little bit about breath work because I'm super interested in it. What is it?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
So I'll start kind of with how it came about and how I brought it back into recently, and then what it is and how we do it. So prior to starting S&S Creative, I was in corporate for 12 plus years, and I also always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. So I had a side hustle. I have a chronic illness, Crohn's disease, and I was dealing with some side effects of medication that were causing tons of weight gain. And I kind of took it into my own hands because the doctors couldn't figure it out. Got a personal training certification, became a holistic health coach, took a year and a half or something like that of school, and was doing all that while in corporate in sales. And out of nowhere, I was doing one on one coaching with women who had Crohn's disease, kind of like health life coach stuff. Out of nowhere, I got this pull to go to San Diego to become a breathwork coach. So I
Oh,
had, or a certified breathwork facilitator. So I had a experience in San Diego the year prior at a conference called Pace to Be Brave. I did breathwork, and it's essentially version of holotropic breath work where for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you're almost like kind of hyperventilating your body. There's not a better way to explain it, but it really allows you to tap into your body and your knowing and really come into the highest version of you and leave the mind and the chaos and the trying to thinking how to feel better and allow your body to integrate it. And so I had one experience in San Diego, and it changed my life. Like I was able to see like my future with me and my husband, how I was going to fulfill my dreams, even though I felt stuck in a corporate job. Like all of this stuff just felt so clear, like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. So the following year in 2019, there was an opportunity to become a facilitator. It was the beta program for a program that's now super, super massive and successful. And I was like, I feel like I have to do this. I forget if it was 5 grand or 10 grand USD. And I was like, I don't know. I have never spent that kind of money. I don't have a business really. Like I have a side hustle, but it's not a full-time business. I'm in corporate. Like I have to go to San Diego for a week. I don't know. And I just like followed my intuition and I went, and it was again a life-changing experience. And then you have to do live hours, and I forget if it was 100 or it was a ton of practice hours where you have to facilitate breath work in person and online. And I was doing it, and then I got pregnant in December of 2019, and then the pandemic hit in January of 20, or I guess started hitting, but really in March of 2020. And I gave birth in July of 2020, and then kind of took that whole time off. And I never really understood, like, why did I become a facilitator? I loved it when I was doing it, and it was so impactful. And I really loved integrating it into speaking events. So giving transformations to the audience when I speak. And I did some of that prior to the pandemic starting. But I didn't understand it when I started S&S, the digital marketing agency, and supporting entrepreneurs, and like how can I bring it back in. But now that the world's kind of opened up and we're going back in person, I really brought it back into bringing it in the lens of creating from that authentic version of you, creating from a place that's going to serve your audience and give value and be from the heart and be what really you were put here to do and to serve, versus what are people going to think of me? What is my, like, what do I think of myself? What do I think people think I think? Like all of these thoughts that happen before we go to create a piece of content or social media or even put our businesses out in the world. And so like a big picture, that's what it is. Practically, like what you're actually doing is it's a 3-part breath. Typically, the one that I do is from your belly, your chest, and then out through the mouth. And I choreograph, I guess, a really specific playlist, depending on the length of time, depending if I'm doing it from stage or online or wherever, to take you through a journey. And then I have prompts happening throughout the session. And so it really is like the beats of the music, the sounds, the songs, the words, what I'm saying, it all is put together to really take you through this journey of some kind of breakthrough or something like the one that I recently did. I did a workshop for women in Winnipeg, and it was, like I mentioned, to create from your love and your soul versus your ego. And their mantra for that breathwork session was, I have access to the highest version of me. And
Mm-hmm.
so then the songs and everything kind of go in towards that, so that it's not just like you're sitting there meditating for 20 minutes, because we, like, our minds, especially as parents, as entrepreneurs, as moms, as all of these things, like,
It's so hard.
I'm gonna sit there for 20 minutes making a to-do list. Like, let's be real.
It's so hard.
Right?
And like clearing your mind, it's like literally the last thing that
It's not
I
gonna happen for me.
perceive as easy. It's not for me.
Exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
And I think I have ADHD, so
Right.
it's really, really hard to. This is
Yeah.
a new
And so this
thing. This is a
breath
new
work,
thing. Yeah.
you're doing something. And the first 5 minutes, your brain's like, stop, stop, stop. Like, what are we doing? Why am I doing this? This is so weird. And then after the 5 to 8 minutes, it's just like this, like, holy crap, like, I've been keeping this all in, or like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been ignoring this, or whatever, like, just something, whatever was meant to come up in that session will come up. And I've had sessions where I'm bawling uncontrollably, and I've had sessions where I'm just ecstatically, like, literally high on life, like, just smiling from ear to ear. It's really an incredible tool that, um, yeah, it's just like, it's so important, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is yet again another one of those like uncommon practices that combines science with like the spiritual.
Yeah,
And I love talking about that on my show because I want people to find different ways of coping. I'm not
exactly.
like I am that person that will try everything. So I'm not saying don't try medication or don't do therapy. I've done both. And I also tried Reiki for the first time. Like I'm so open to like trying new things that or we talked about the power of positive thinking, especially in business
Yeah,
or how to cope with stress in a more like holistic way rather than like and I keep talking about this book because I'm in a coaching group that we read this book called Burnout,
okay.
and it talks about the cycle of stress. And I feel like maybe breath work could definitely help. How do I even say this? Like unbottle all of the stuff that we keep shoving to the back to be like, I don't have time to deal with it right now. That's
Totally.
what it sounds like to me, but
It
I've
absolutely
never tried it.
Yeah, well, there's an app if you have an iPhone. I learned from Samantha Skelly. She's phenomenal. They have their Instagram pages Pause Breathwork. She has a Pause app where you can actually do breathwork every single day, and it doesn't have to be such a transformational 20, 30, an hour session. It can literally be like taking 5 minutes or 2 minutes during work when you're stressed and like breathing intentionally. And there's different breathwork patterns that you can do, and like breathe really quick or breathe slow, and keep focus on it, just to bring you back to center, because that
Mhm.
we have control of our breath. And like, if we're all to take 3 deep breaths right now, how
Yeah,
different our energy is going to be when we show up, right? Like,
yeah,
whoever's listening, literally take 3 deep breaths, and see how like just the stress eases off your shoulders, no matter what you're doing, even if you're driving.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely something that we need to know more about. I'm going to ask about health and how you got to this point. However, I'm just going to do a quick reintroduction here for anybody that's just tuning in, hello and welcome. You are listening to Negotiating Happiness, and we are live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And we are also streaming across all popular platforms. Check us out. The network is also on Roku TV. And I am here with the lovely Natalie, CEO of S&S Creative. And we were just discussing breathwork because I'm super interested in knowing more about it. And my next question was going to be about how do you juggle I know that you were in corporate for a long time and you've decided to put your health first because as we all know, the corporate world does not necessarily accommodate for everybody's needs, right? Especially for health. And there's this kind of like overarching idea that if you push through your pain and your sickness and you continue to be a good employee in corporate, you're going to get really far places. And it's a good thing that you're kind of chugging through. But I can tell you also that that's there are so few people that think that that's worth it. And I'm not one of those people that is not worth doing that. So
Totally.
tell me a little bit about your journey. You mentioned you have Crohn's disease.
Yeah. So, where do I start? So I was diagnosed with Crohn's. Well, actually, it was ulcerative colitis, but it was in 2007. I was just turning 18, just going into university. And I always knew I was going to be a businesswoman. Like ever since I was young, I was the kid who was literally like in grade 2 or 3 making candy at home out of Kool-Aid and powdered milk and like some other stuff and lobbying my my principal
Amazing.
to be able to sell it in the hallways. Like I'm not even joking. And then when he said no, I was selling it at the playground. Like that was me. And so I went to university because my dad said he'd pay for makeup school if I went. And I was a hairstylist already. I did hairstyling through high school. So I was working 5 jobs while in university, not
Wow.
because I had to. My parents paid for university because that's just the kind of person I was.
Yeah.
And I was incredibly ill. Like I'm talking, my grandpa, thank gosh, worked the disability driver person. It was called handicap driver, but I don't think that's politically correct anymore. But he drove, like, if somebody broke their leg, he would drive them from one building to another on the campus. And thank goodness, because I couldn't make it from one building to another without having an accident. Like, I was so sick, so weak, so just, it was horrible. I fell asleep in the bathroom sometime at university. Like, it was just, I was incredibly ill, but I ignored it because my doctors told me it had nothing to do with me. Nothing I could do would help it other than medications. Nothing I ate mattered. And I believed that for a really, really long time until I got incredible. Like I was always incredibly ill. I was in a flare for 10 plus years. But in 2018, 11 years after diagnosis, I was in the hospital again because I've been in the hospital multiple times, but this time for 2 weeks with a perforated bowel and a bunch of other things. And the medication they put me on after that caused me to gain like 60 pounds or something like that. The numbers are hard to remember. There's a YouTube video if you want to find it, the exact numbers. But I was on Humira and I gained incredible amounts of weight really fast. Then I was working out twice a day, eating 800 calories a day, gaining like 2 to 5 pounds, like just so much weight fast. And it really opened my eyes. And I always say out of like vanity, but I was like, wait, I have to have some kind of control over this. Like, I'm not going to be 500 pounds. Like, that's not healthy. How am I going to be on this drug to make me better? And then like all of this rapid weight gain can't be making me better. And so I dove into medical journals and studies and like took it into my own hands and found that 9% of people on this medication can actually see extreme weight gain. But of course, pharmaceutical companies are going to bury that information and doctors hardly knew it. My doctor is phenomenal and he found the same study I did after us looking for months. And then his coworkers were telling him, like, oh, she must have an eating disorder. She's lying to you. Like, there's no way it's the medication. I've never seen it. Well, I have a Facebook group with thousands of people in it or hundreds of people in it, and they've all seen the same thing. But that's really where kind of my journey of sharing my story, of being online, of like taking my health into my own hands and not just allowing it to be a thing that was on the sidebar of me growing my corporate career. And I like throughout all that got promoted
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
university and moved around, whatever. But it was all like disease was on the side. And then in 2018, it was like, wait, like this is something I can actually do something about,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
food I'm eating impacts this disease. Like it was it was really eye opening, and so
Yeah.
I was able to get myself in remission through, holistic practices. And I don't really want to go into it because everybody's different, right? And
Of
what
course.
I
Of
did
course.
probably
Yeah.
won't or may not work for other people.
Of
But
course.
I am in a flare again, and the Crohn's just comes back. And like you're not gonna cure it, but I do have tools, and it is why I started S&S Creative. Like S&S stands for Sick and Successful. Every single employer contractor who works with us, there's over 15 of us now, either have a chronic illness or take care of someone with a chronic illness or stay at home moms. And it is the whole ethos of the company. Because, like you said, corporate isn't typically known for a place that is accommodating for people who are sick but
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah.
successful. And yeah,
Yeah.
in my career of climbing the corporate ladder, and I was sick and successful. I was
Mm-hmm.
chronically ill in
Mm-hmm.
the hospital, but a high achiever. And so there were so many times that would be used against me by those who weren't high achievers, let's just say that. And I wanted to create a company and a place where we do things differently. And also, that's why I speak now, is to show companies and organizations and corporate cultures that you can have people who may be really sick but want to work and want to grow and want to be, successful, and you need to accommodate them. That's my
Being,
rant.
yeah, being sick is not something that people tend to choose. And I think that
Right.
people forget that, especially when it comes to very physically, like very visible symptoms like weight gain, right? Like I hear ya, right? Like I can relate so much to that. I was 18 when they diagnosed me with PCOS, and they basically slapped on like the pill. You just need the
Yeah.
pill. That is the treatment. I was like, but wait, what does it treat? Oh, it just regulates your cycle. I was like, but what about the other like, symptoms? And nothing was really, I could totally relate. And I also want to point out another theme in what you just said is it is true that and they've done lots of studies about this, that in the medical field, women are not believed. Women's pain is often pushed to the side. The reasoning is pushed to the side. You must be lying. You must be exaggerating. You must be not, you must
Overembellished.
not,
Yeah.
yeah, and you must not
Hmm.
know what you're talking about. And and again, it's not all doctors. I'm really glad to hear that you have a
Yeah.
phenomenal
It's amazing.
doctor, but I want people to be aware that this is a thing and you need to be your own advocate.
Yeah.
Because if you hadn't dove into those medical journals, maybe you would still be on the same track as what all these professionals were telling you. And I'm not saying that somehow their qualifications were nullified because you know how to read a medical journal. No, but people tend to forget that everybody is human. And when you're given a system of beliefs, because Western medicine is a system of beliefs based in fact, it's kind of like they're not allowed. Doctors are not allowed to
Hmm.
veer outside without repercussions and without
And how
the
much time do they have?
scientific
It
community.
took
I
me
know.
like literally a week of staying up all night every night to find those journals. They're being buried. So like
Yeah.
my doctor spent that time to find it, but not they're busy, they're overworked, they're overtired, like,
When they have thousands of patients, like
exactly.
we have a shortage of doctors I know in Ontario, I'm not sure about across Canada, but in
Yeah,
Ontario, we have a shortage of doctors and specialists. You're waiting a year just to have an intro appointment with a specialist. That can't be
right.
right, you
No, it's
know?
crazy. Yeah.
And for like our American friends there, I understand that there are other challenges that they
Even
face,
worse. Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas they can get to a specialist sooner, you definitely have to pay out of pocket for more. We have to pay some things as well, but I have to say the most things that are
Yeah.
necessary or urgent are being covered, which we're
Hmm.
very lucky. I recognize that, right?
Yeah.
So again, not there's not a single system that isn't, without its flaws. But I'm
Totally.
really glad to hear that you became your own advocate and you still went for what you wanted in life and you did not let that
Hmm.
go. And it's really powerful that you're sitting here and you're telling us that you're currently in a flare up because you're saying, I'm still working, I'm still
Totally.
taking care of my family, and I'm still pursuing my dream. And I'm also acknowledging that my body needs some extra care,
Absolutely. Like, was in a
right?
colonoscopy last week, like, and the results weren't wonderful. But
Right.
like, went to Florida a few weeks back for procedure for my health. Like, I'm still working on it. It's not easy. It takes up a lot of time. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
full-time job, right? And so is being a mom. So, and then running a business with 15 employees or contractors is a job, but it's doable. Like, it's the
Yeah.
life I want to live, and I love it. And I'm also a wife and a daughter and a friend and a niece and aunt and all of those things. And I get to do it all in my own way. And that's like the whole thing about being sick and successful. That's my podcast, is Sick and Successful, because
Yeah.
it's so possible, and it doesn't have to be this um, thing where you choose just to focus on your health, or you choose just to focus on your business and you forget about your health and family. Like, you can find ways to juggle all the balls. I had a business coach that once told me, like, life is a bunch of glass balls and rubber balls, and sometimes you're going to have to drop some rubber balls to hold on to glass ones and choose which ones are. And we're always juggling in different ways, but
Yeah.
it's worth it.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, you've mentioned all the different roles that you do and all the time that you have to dedicate to them, but I'm really interested in knowing what makes Natalie happy. Like not mom Natalie, like individual Natalie. Tell
I
me
love it.
what feeds your soul.
I love it. It's something I've been really working on, like figuring out for a while, because a few years ago I would have just said, like, being successful, building my business. It really does feed my soul. Like, I love it. I love speaking to audiences and getting on stages, and it really does. It does. But also nature, like being out in nature with my family, with my daughter, with my husband, and like water, the ocean or lakes, because I don't get much of the ocean here or any, but I have to
Yeah.
travel to get to it. Nature. And recently it's been Colleen Hoover books out of nowhere, but it's been a good way to kind
Oh,
of disconnect. I've been reading so many. It's like too many. It's taken up a little bit too much time, but I love it. So seems to be more of a summer thing, is get into some I don't know what to call them, cheesy books, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely relate to that. I mean, some people come on the show and tell us that they like what makes them happy is getting up at 5 a.m. and working out. And I'm like, oh my God, no. Please don't do that to me. That is like the opposite. But that I can get on board with. I love hiking. I love going out. And sometimes I just want to stick my feet in some grass and just chill.
Right.
Yes, I want to
Yeah,
do
get
that.
connected to nature and earth and
Yeah.
disconnect for a bit, right? So that when I'm doing
Yeah.
this side of things I love, I have more energy.
Yeah. I feel like my body and my brain are working against what I usually am like because I'm starting to forget my phone places. And I'm like, I feel great. I wonder why. And I get back, I'm like, did anyone see my phone in the last hour? And I go back and there's like a million messages, and I'm like, oh my God.
I'm like that too. Weekends, my phone
Yeah.
like essentially stays at home, or it comes with me for pictures. I don't look at Slack or emails or anything. I've been like that ever since I was in corporate. Strict boundaries are what allows me to do what I do, and
Yeah.
at the pace that I do.
Yeah. I'm bad sometimes and I have really wonderful clients. So I have a really hard time saying no to them
Hmm.
because I work with them ongoing, right?
Yeah,
And on top of that, I do have some temporary projects. And I feel like sometimes if you don't babysit those projects more, they kind of like slip through the cracks. So I
totally.
have this like constant fear of like, oh my God, I have to be on it. But you don't. You don't have to be on it all the time. You don't. I mean, I just went away to Vancouver for 4 days. And I mean, I don't know, my CRM did most of the work, right? The bills
Fantastic.
kept getting paid and
Yeah.
the emails were getting sorted and I didn't really do much. I just checked like some of my messages, but I haven't even, I feel really bad. Taylor, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I haven't checked your message yet. She's probably like asking me, what do you want me to post? And I'm like, do in Vancouver, you know.
No, I love it.
But I need a
I'm
break
going,
sometimes, you
no,
know.
exactly. I'm going
Yeah.
to India and Dubai for 2 weeks in July, and I went for a week to Florida a couple weeks ago. That was my trial run, but now it's like fully disconnected. My team's got it, and we have to, right?
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Have you not taken vacation before from S&S?
Um, like I did last summer, definitely disconnected, but I was still like the main person running. Recently, I've promoted a few of my girls to vice president and vice president of operations. So when I did take vacation, I was still the one managing client concerns, managing cancellations, managing whatever. So it would just
Right.
wait till I got back. Whereas
Yeah.
now everything's flowing and I don't need to be
It's
the
moving.
bottleneck.
It's moving, which is
Exactly.
amazing. And it's I say this to people all the time. It's actually a learned skill. It does not come natural to very many people to learn how to delegate and still be comfortable.
So
I'm
true.
struggling with that, and I'm like, I can't. I still have to. If I work with subcontractors, I still have to then get the work and review it and then submit it, and
Mm,
it just comes with that, you know, making a team when they're not just a subcontractor once,
absolutely.
right? And you're so
Absolutely.
lucky that you have such a team that is constant and cohesive, right? So that's what
It
all
took
of
a
us
lot
dream
of
of.
work. Like it really did. And it
I
was
bet.
I like luck, maybe yeah, luck for my first hire, which is now my vice president, 100%. I will give that to luck. But we've hired and fired, so we hire slowly and fire so quickly. It's advice from Gary Vee. He always says like that's why his company is so successful. But the people who are at S&S are freaking gems, and if they're not, they're gone within like a week. Like we can suss them out so fast because we have values that are on point. We have SOP. Like there's so many things that yeah, people can interview well, but you can't people well if you're really not the right fit. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
been a really big thing for us.
And also, it's not just that you it's not just that, you know, you just know. It comes from
No,
experience, right? Like it comes from you
totally.
having to have done this a couple of times.
Oh
So
yeah,
anybody that's listening, like, hang in there. And
totally.
I mean, you and I are in the digital space, right? But I have clients who have brick and mortar stores who struggle
Yeah.
with hiring, with, and I
Oh my
sometimes I
gosh.
help them out with like recruiting. And the market in Ontario specifically, because I can't speak to anywhere else, is wild right now.
I would just
It's
say
like,
anywhere. Anywhere looking for employees is insane. Like my market is worldwide when I'm hiring, and it is insane finding proper people. Like we've been interviewing all over, literally Thailand to the Ukraine to London to Canada to the States to like everywhere. Venezuela, I think we even had an interview. The hiring right now. It's
also,
like,
let me just put it out there, people don't show up for their interviews. They just
you would
don't.
be surprised. Like it's just it's
Like, what's happening? Like, I
I don't know.
remember, like, I don't know, I've been working since I was 14, okay? Like, I've had to do the whole, I'm gonna dress up nicely, I'm gonna print a
Yes.
copy of my resume, I'm gonna have a different, like, cover letter, I'm going to be open and talk about, I'm gonna be welcoming, and I've done
Do
the
my research
whole,
about the company before I get
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be there 10 minutes early, and maybe this is like old school thinking, and I get it, but people no longer show up for their interviews. It is wild how much of a waste of time it is sometimes for these employers.
I know.
And I have to say, and I'm not trying to, I am a full believer in it has to be worth your time too. Just
Of
because
course.
you're an employee does not mean that you owe anybody anything other than what you've signed in that contract. And do I think they need to do a good job? Yes. I think you need to also be mindful of what you're getting back from the company too. So I'm not saying put your head down and work. That is not my jam. Okay. I've been
Yeah.
there, I've done that. It's gotten me nowhere.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And but what I'm saying is if you want something, you have to start it off right. And
Hmm.
if for some reason it goes awry, like be honest or be open and just and people don't even show up for interviews. It is mind-boggling to
It
me.
is
And
mind-boggling.
these jobs, like I can see the HR manager doing research with other HR companies to say, am I paying within the market? We're offering dental, full medical benefits, life insurance, RSP matching program, clothing allowance. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, I went through like 8 years of post-secondary school and I got none of those things. And I was
Right?
barely making enough to live. So I think people need to put things into perspective
Yeah.
when you're looking for a job.
And I find a lot of people are looking for their online, like, super easy job where they don't hardly have to work and they just get paid. And that's, I do get a lot of those applications, and that's just as bad. Like, this is a business. We
Yeah.
work, we don't have working hours. There's a lot I do for my employees because we are sick and successful. We don't have office hours, whatever. There's a lot of trust, but like the amount of people that we've had come in that are just like interview phenomenal and then literally will still steal people's reels or like take content, like just the things that I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Like, yeah,
Wow. No, that's not okay. Just because we're in the digital world, plagiarism still exists, and it's also just
exactly.
not
There's
cool. You're
just
doing it for somebody else's business. You're messing with somebody else's paycheck. That's not okay.
right. So we
Um,
have so many things in place, but yeah, it's
yeah,
been a
yeah.
wild ride.
And the digital space, this is why it's great because it allows people to make their own hours, but you have to be honest and you have to be disciplined. If you're not those
Exactly.
things, this isn't going to work for you.
It's not. Yeah,
100% not. Yeah.
yeah.
We've got a comment here from Laura Lee. She says, yes, that's so true, Adriana. I think it's just courtesy and professionalism versus it seems that, pieces not being educated regarding work entry ethics. And that's exactly it, Laura Lee. I think um, it's just not it's just not a priority anymore, I think, for some people that are entering and re-entering the
Hmm.
workforce, or maybe it's never been a priority, and that's fine, but you have to find what works for you,
Yeah.
right? That's why I said the digital space is not for everybody.
No,
It's not.
it isn't.
It's not. People think that it's just going to be super easy. I get this comment a lot from people that mean well, but it doesn't it it's so far from the truth. They think that I keep Zach at home. Zach is my 3-year-old. They're like, that must be so great. You don't have to get daycare. I'm like, pardon? Excuse me? Have you worked full time with a 3-year-old
Oh, I could
around?
never. I could never. Mine's
And
also
they mean
three.
well. And they mean, I was like, no, no, he goes to daycare. I'm not home to answer emails and there's nothing wrong with that. If that is what
No,
you're doing, that works for you. I, I get so overwhelmed. I get so overwhelmed so quickly and I'm not
I
able to
can't do.
perform.
Yeah. There's
I
no
can't
way.
perform.
When my daughter's off for a week, like if her daycare provider has a week off, I'm off. I I've tried to have a meeting with her in this office because something came up and it ended
Yeah.
up being like her drawing all over my stuff that's important on the whiteboard and like
Hmm.
I'm just like
Hmm.
trying to get her, like it doesn't work, especially a
No,
3-year-old. And I love her to death and I want the time I spend with her to be focused time and not mommy stuck on her phone or her computer. Like
I feel guilty about that too.
and I have stay-at-home mom employees, but the thing is, I'm the CEO. I run the day-to-day operations, the issues that like my contractors who are creating content, they can create content at night when their kids are sleeping, in the middle, like whenever they want, when like their partner's watching on the weekends, whatever. They don't have to work every single day, 40 hours a week or
Hmm.
more as the owner.
Yeah.
Um, so like that's why I want to create that opportunity for them because like it's amazing. But
Yeah.
yeah, not something I could ever do.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's how it started for me too. But I was lucky enough, and funny that you say maybe luck is not all that was in the mix, but I was prepared after mat leave, and I was lucky enough to get full time work to find my clients, jive with them, and get into a rhythm and work with them since then. So you're right. I always had to, you know, like my operation is not nearly as big as yours, and that's I want to get there. So like kudos to
Yeah,
you. Like it's amazing. You're doing great.
thank you.
Um I still have to bill and I still have to do some of the things that, that are I don't get paid for doing my own billing. I don't get paid for
Of
doing my
course.
own strategy or for developing my own products or for,
Yeah.
like I've got so many things here. So um speaking of, I only have like a minute left, but I want you to tell me what's upcoming for you and tell us about a service that you want everybody to know about.
Of course. So upcoming is just focusing on getting on more stages and more speaking events. Now that I've promoted those two employees to VP and VP of operations, congratulations, ladies. I get to do what I love, and that's, getting out there, motivating people that it's possible to be sick and successful. So
Yes.
that's number one. If anyone knows of any speaking gigs, conferences, podcasts, whatever. And I'm planning on writing the book, Sick and Successful, soon. And then a service as our main service is social media management for any business owners who want a social media agency who actually focuses on conversions, sales, content that is going to create audience that's going to grow your business instead of just pretty pictures. Yeah, when you work with us, you get a full marketing team, a content specialist, an engagement specialist, a strategist, and then me overseeing everything. So it's really like a marketing agency and not just a social media management agency. And you
Yeah.
can book a free call with me if you are interested in hearing more, or even just having a quick IG audit on your business. I love to meet with
Yeah.
you.
So actually, if anybody wants to book with Natalie, I'm just going to post the link everywhere, just in the comments right now. So just go below, or you can always go
Check the link in
on.
my bio.
Yeah, check the link in Natalie's bio. And again, on Instagram, it's at For The Success. And thank you so much for coming, Natalie. I am
Thank
so
you.
excited that we were able to put this in the books, and I take this as your official invitation to come back after the summer and tell us
Yeah,
more about how everything went with speaking engagements, where you're at with your book. We'd love to hear more. And I love that you're also giving shout outs to your team. So shout out to your team as well for making this possible. So we
they're
could,
amazing.
take Natalie and take her for an hour. This is
I
awesome.
couldn't do it
And
without them.
right, which is, it's important. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking to build a team. TBD.
We're over
TBD.
here. We have
I
virtual
know.
assistants.
I know. I know. I'm working on it.
I love
Thank you
it.
to everybody who showed up in the comments. Thank you so much, Laura Lee. It's a fantastic show as always. She's also a business owner. I
I
love that
love
I have
it.
this space to be able to talk to other business owners. It makes a huge difference.
So
So I'm
true.
very grateful to the network as well. Um, we're just going to do a quick outro, and just remember that we're on
Thank
every
you for
Monday.
having me.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much. So thanks to everyone for tuning in the show. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. And thank you to the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And if you guys have any suggestions, or if you know of anybody else that would be awesome on the show, please let us know. Have a wonderful Monday and have a great week.